Footy podcast, where we talk all things footy. If you could hit that free punch combination by liking, subscribing and commenting down below. Thank you very much if you are listening right now, and enjoy the pod. Welcome everybody. I'm here today with a special guest, and I'm going to introduce him as Adam. And Adam, would you like to introduce yourself, brother? Here he is, the special guest.
Hello, everybody. My name's Adam. I have my own channel, the Ardent Gooners Network. We're a pretty new channel. We've been going a few months, and it's been a fantastic journey so far. I talk all things Arsenal, but I also talk all things football. Football is the love of my life, as is the club I support. So great to be on, and thank you very much, Jamie, for having me.
Anytime, my brother, anytime. So people today, obviously I normally do my Arsenal daily news every single day, but because we've got the lovely Adam over here, who is part of AFTV, he's very, very famous around these parts, I heard. We're going to go with an Arsenal keep, loan and sell. So let me come off here quickly, Adam. I'm just going to pull it up on everyone's screen. So here we have it. This is the Arsenal website where we've got a run of players. So from here on out, you can see me scrolling now, can't you, mate?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So people, if you're in the chat, I can't see currently what you put in. So I'm going to run through a few things. So just before we start, if you could do that free punch combination, people, by liking, subscribing and commenting down below. And also head over to Adam's channel. Give me your plug now, Adam, quickly. What's your channel?
Ardent Gooners Network.
Ardent Gooners Network. So people, if you're listening on playback, go head over there. So we're going to start off, Adam, which is a obvious one here straight away. So I'm just going to go with David Raya. We're keeping. You in agreement?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you want to touch on a few things? How you think he had this season? How well he went, and so on?
Yeah, well, he's done very well, hasn't he? I mean, he won the Golden Glove for the season. I think he had something like 20 odd clean sheets. I think it may have been a little more actually. He came in. Do you know what? To be honest, at the start it was a little bit shaky. I think there were some nerves, which is understandable. Really, he's replaced a proven Arsenal keeper, so obviously it took him a little bit of time to get in the swing of things. But I think he's really made his name with that penalty shootout against Porto. Those saves he made. I think the Arsenal fan base fell in love with him that night, I think he's done very, very, very well on the whole, and I'm very happy with him.
Yeah, I can be on complete agreement. I'm going to throw a stat out there for you, brother. So David Raya last season, he collected 80% of crosses that came in. Well, I think it's about 78% people, but the next one in line is actually the keeper that we're interested in from Feyenoord. The next one along was 45%, so he almost out doubles anyone in the whole of Europe for collection of crosses. Take that number into account, people. Crosses come in, he collects 80% of crosses. So what David Raya does, people, this is what Mikel Arteta. I'll do a little bit of a deep analysis of this. So what we do, we compact in. When we're in defence, we compact right together and we make them go out wide to the flanks. So what they do when they go out wide to the flanks, because they can't play for the lines because we're so compact, they go out wide and then they cross the ball in. And then if you think we've got William Saliba, Gabriel, and we've got David Raya who can come, collect them crosses, he's collecting 80% of them. It's perfect. It's perfect for how Mikel Arteta wants to play. Are you in agreement with that? How we play as a tight knit group there, brother?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I think the game we play is dictated on building from the back, and Raya had to be good with his feet, which he is. Obviously we will talk about Aaron Ramsdale in a second, but Aaron Ramsdale had made a number of mistakes at the end of last season, particularly games like Southampton and the Fulham game actually at the start of this season. So I think Arteta was fairly ruthless, and he said we need a goalkeeper that's going to suit our style of play. And as you say, good statistic there. He does look very comfortable taking crosses in the air. He looks good with his feet, and he looks very assured. And I think he's going to be a great goalkeeper over the next couple of seasons. I think he'll be up there with the likes of Ederson and Alisson.
Yeah, I can completely back that, brother. So moving on to Aaron Ramsdale. What's your thinking behind Aaron Ramsdale, Adam? What you thinking, mate?
There's two thoughts. One is with the heart, one is with the head, Jamie.
Complete agreement.
I love Aaron Ramsdale. I really do. He's a great guy. Love the interviews he gives. He's just fantastic. And I was a big fan of his, and I still am. And I'd be very sad to see him go. But I don't think he's going to accept being a second goalkeeper. He thinks, rightly so, in my opinion, that he's good enough to play every game. So I think we're going to have to go for a different backup keeper, and unfortunately, I think he will be sold. And yeah, it's a bit premature, really. I thought he'd be an Arsenal player for many years to come, but it doesn't look like it's gone that way. And sometimes it doesn't in football, and in life generally. Sometimes things come to an end a bit sooner than we would like, but there we are.
Yeah.
So I think Ramsdale is on his way out, but I'm pretty miffed about it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, life comes at you fast, people. I from my perspective, I do love Aaron Ramsdale.
Mm,
I think I do understand. So when everyone was coming out, if you watched AFTV on there, everyone was like, "Why Ramsdale? Why are we taking him out the squad?" I understood why. The minute it happened, I understood why, because he's quite erratic. He switches off. He
mm,
comes off. He said in his interviews and that, didn't he? I think it
mm.
was with Ian Wright. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Ian Wright. Yeah, he said that he kind of switches off, and you can see it happening in games where he gets too involved. I know we love him because
Mm,
he gets so
mm,
involved, but at the
mm,
same time, people, that is a bad thing because he gets involved in the moment. You need to cut off emotions completely,
mm,
completely. Unless it's the end of the game, you're happy, or you've scored a last minute winner. It can be anything like that, people. But with Aaron Ramsdale, my personal opinion is that he's not a title winning keeper. He's a
mm,
top six keeper, whether that's Europa League, Champions League. He I don't think you can have him in your team at this age now, because don't forget, people, he's still only 24 years old. I don't think with him behind the sticks we can win the league. And I think you noticed the difference this season, how well we
mm,
were defensively, and David
mm,
Raya. People
mm,
want to say it's just because of the defensive. No, it wasn't. Aaron Ramsdale might be a better shot stopper than David Raya, but David Raya is a lot more calmer. He's better with the ball at his feet. Don't get me wrong, Ramsdale can ping out passes, but what Raya does, he puts his foot on the ball, stands there, and lets people come. It gets you worried, but it brings that forward in. It draws that space for someone to come in so he can lay off a pass. So that's what he does really well. He ain't scared to stand there and hold the ball until that last second, when then he has to give it away to draw in that space. And that's what Mikel Arteta is asking of him. What price tag do you think is a minimum for Aaron Ramsdale, Adam?
50 million.
50 million minimum?
Yeah, 50 million. I think we have to be ambitious with the prices we put on
Yeah.
the players that we're selling. And if you look at Liverpool, Liverpool have sold some, let's be honest, very average players for a
Yeah.
lot of money. And I think Arsenal need to do the same. We need to do that. And Aaron isn't an average player. He's as you say, I completely agree with your analysis. He's a top 4 to 6
Yeah.
sort of team player. I wouldn't be that surprised. I don't want him to, but I wouldn't be that surprised if he ends up at Chelsea or a club like that. And I think £50 million is what we need to be aiming for, really, for him.
Yeah. I kind of touched on it on my Arsenal Daily the past couple of days. I think so. We signed him for £30 million, correct? Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people, I have people on my comment. I'll put it up on my TikTok for people if they want to go and see that, where I talked about I would go for anything. I would go for a minimum. But I think 30 to 40 million is realistic what we would get for him. And then people keep saying to me, well, you've got David Raya for 27 million. You're forgetting Ramsdale is 4 years
Mm,
younger
mm,
than him.
mm,
He's English, he's homegrown, so that
mm,
meets criteria for clubs. So
mm,
people are forgetting, because of Brexit, we have to have certain criteria. We have to have certain players in the squad what are homegrown talents, which Aaron Ramsdale fits all of the bills. Hence why the likes of Jack Grealish go for a heavy amount, because they're a good English player. If
mm,
you would have looked at the season before when he was playing, he was worth a lot more than what he is now, because he hasn't played.
mm,
But we all know there's a keeper there, and it's just a shame about his appearances and stuff like that. It's a
mm,
shame the way he's going to
mm,
bow out. But it just really depends. I'd love to see him go to a Juventus or something like that, because Juve have just lost Woj. They were losing Wojciech Szczesny to Al Nassr.
yeah. Yeah,
So I'd love him to go over there and do something over there, do some bits over there. I think the Serie A, he'd lap it up. He'd love it.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm not against him staying either. Like, if he wants to stay, he can stay, mate, because that's a highly capable keeper who's behind him.
Mm,
But if the likes of James Trafford, who James Trafford went to Burnley for £25 million,
mm.
if James Trafford is worth 25 million, Ramsdale's double that. Double
Yeah,
that. Because
yeah,
Ramsdale's
agree.
a keeper. I wouldn't even mind, brother. What I wouldn't even mind, just say we did sell him. You know, you said 50, I've said probably 40, yeah?
Yeah,
If we did sell him for 35 million, we had a buyback clause.
yeah,
I'm
nice
not against
idea.
it at all.
That
So
would be a good
when,
idea. Yeah,
yeah, so like, because you think goalkeepers peak around 30 to 32.
yeah,
That's when a goalkeeper. So a midfielder, anywhere else on the pitch, normal peak is about 27, 28 years old. From
yeah,
27 to 30, that's when you're at your peak. You're physically strong. You're mentally aware of the game because you've been in the game for 7 to 8 years. That's when you're at your peak. But for a goalkeeper, it's 32 up to like 35 maybe. But
yeah,
so you think 7, 8 years time where Aaron Ramsdale could be? He was performing for us at a top level at the age of 23 last season. Well, the
mm,
season before, 22, 23. Imagine when he's 30. So
mm.
I think we need to insert that buyback clause. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you, brother, regarding the price tag. Anywhere between 30 to 40 to 50 million.
Yeah,
But I think there's not a the thing with the goalkeeper market is that teams generally already have their number one. And if they don't have their number one, that's when they come in. But it's only that one position. Whereas like midfielders and stuff, you've got a broad range of midfielders, kind of thing.
mm, mm.
If you get what I'm getting at there. So we're both in agreement. Actually, one more question, Adam.
Yeah.
What would you say about a loan?
I like the idea.
Yeah, so
Honestly,
do I.
I like the idea. I think that would be very smart.
Hmm.
Because what you're doing there is you're saying to him, listen, you're not playing this season, but you go away, do brilliantly. And I wouldn't be against him being loaned to another Premier League team either, actually. I can't believe I'm saying
Neither would
that
I.
in a way, but
Yeah.
say we could be quite clever with this. We could say to Brentford, you've helped us out with Raya, and that's great. Because I think Brentford were interested in Ramsdale,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they're not going to pay 50 mil for him. But what they might do is loan him out, to take him on a loan. And
Yeah.
we say to Brentford, you can have him for the year and reassess it in a year's time,
Yeah.
because we got to do that. And I think Arsenal fans would be really happy with that, because we could still call him an Arsenal player.
Exactly right.
But Rambo, as I call him,
That's
Rambo
what I call
is
him, Rambo, as well.
is
Yeah.
Rambo is one that really has taken the hearts of Arsenal fans. We love him. We're very invested in him. But there are things he needs to iron out in his game. In fact, he was on an interview not so long ago, and he said, on the interview, he said, "What I do is I wind up opposition fans because that keeps me concentrated."
Yeah.
But what he needs to do, you can't do that all game, of course. So what
No,
he
you
needs
can't.
to
No.
do is work on that level of his game.
Yeah.
Being completely concentrated for 97, 98 minutes, because that's a full match these days. You're looking at least 97, 98 for
Yeah,
a
of
full
course you
game
are. Yeah.
of football. So yeah, I mean, maybe he can go on loan, develop his game a bit more. I think he did brilliantly for Brentford. I really do. I think
Yeah,
he'd be
so do I.
fantastic.
But Adam, could he see himself go into a team that's not top six and not playing Champions League or Europa League? Would he fit
Yeah,
that bill, do you reckon?
good question. I think it comes down to what Ramsdale truly wants. I think if Ramsdale wants to go to a team that's where he's going to play Europa League,
At least.
or Champions League. I mean, who have we got in the Europa League?
You've got
I mean,
Newcastle, but Newcastle have just got
they,
James Trafford, haven't they?
yeah.
I
I
think we've
think
scared them away with the price tag, and then they've gone for James Trafford instead.
Trafford. Yeah. So I think he could. I mean, a Chelsea might be an interesting one for a year. Now, obviously, look, I mean, I don't
Yeah,
like Chelsea. They're rivals of ours, of course, but they're going to be playing Conference League next season because, of
exactly.
course,
Yeah.
Manchester United got that Europa League spot.
Do you know where I
When
think
they
he
were.
would suit, Adam? I think he would suit a West Ham.
You know what? That's really interesting you saying that, because that did go through my head actually. West Ham,
Yeah.
he'd be brilliant, but again, he wouldn't get a Europa League or, or,
No, he
or
wouldn't.
football.
No,
But
no.
but they should be challenging for that, West
Yeah,
Ham.
that's what I mean. Kind of, even if it ain't a Europa League, but a team what's challenging, because otherwise he's come from Bournemouth
Yeah,
to Arsenal, and then he's going back down to even a
yeah,
Bournemouth, because I'm going to throw this out there, people. I know it's off topic, but I've done predictions for what I think next season. I think Bournemouth will challenge for them that Conference League spot. At the end, the latter end of the season, last season, they were the second or third most informed team in the league. Under that new management, they've kind of
Iraola.
found
Yeah.
people. So he could even go back to a Bournemouth, maybe.
And he might be enticed by that because of
Yeah.
course he's got that connection with the club.
Yeah.
So yeah, he might well do that. And I agree with you on Bournemouth. Bournemouth are looking really good, and Iraola looks like a really decent manager.
Yeah, he does. He looks unreal. He grew up with Mikel Arteta, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, because I listened to a pod the other day. Obviously we're doing a pod, but I listen to a lot of podcasts myself. I can learn, I can improve from other podcasts. I listened, and it was Mikel Arteta being interviewed by Miguel Delaney, I think it was. And he was talking that he grew up with Xabi Alonso. He went through the Barcelona ranks with the Bournemouth manager. They all grew up kind of in the same knit, in the same community in Spain. So it's lovely to see them all together, which I think is a real. English media ain't going to put it out there because it's not Sam Allardyce and Sean Dyche growing up together kind of thing. But it's lovely to see that. You think like Pep Guardiola, they've all come from the same tight knit community. It's Real Sociedad. I don't think Pep did, but I know that Xabi Alonso, I know that this manager from Bournemouth, and I know that Mikel Arteta, they came through together. Like Xabi Alonso, they share the same room for 8 years. Mikel Arteta and Xabi Alonso going through the youth system. So it's quite nice. I know it's off topic, but it is quite nice that it's a little tight knit community, and I do like that. That you think they started out there as children, and they're on the biggest possible stage. And I could see that Bournemouth manager taking, just say, Ten Hag comes out of that position and they can't find anyone. I could see him going to a Man United or like a bigger club if he carries on improving this Bournemouth team and he keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can. I think he's a quality manager, and there are a lot of these managers coming through. These sort of managers that have worked with the same core of other people. So your Artetas, your Alonso's. Also, you've got of course Enzo Maresca, who worked under Guardiola.
I think for Chelsea he's going to do very, very well, and people are underrating it. But I think Chelsea could have a top season.
I think they very much could have a good season. I tipped them when I was asked after the last game of the season. I was asked by a guy who we were on with last night, Vijay Wale, said to me, "Well, who's going to be the team that's going to surprise everybody next season?" And I said, "I think it'll be Chelsea." If you think they've got Cole Palmer, who I love Cole Palmer. I hate to admit it because he's an opposition player and he plays with Chelsea, but I think he's brilliant. And the age he's at, he got 23 goals last season.
Yeah, I mean, he had in all competitions he had 38 goal contributions last season.
It's amazing. And what
Saka had 30 32.
32. Yeah, so this is the thing, Cole Palmer is exceptional. I think Jackson is improving, Nicholas Jackson. Will they hold on to Gallagher? Well, it's another question.
He's going.
He's going, isn't he? Which is a shame for them because I think a lot of Chelsea fans.
Last I heard, he was in talks with Aston Villa.
Yeah, that'd be a good side. That'd be a good move for him. I think he'd do well there. But yeah, I think they're going to do some good stuff. Obviously, they have Reece James back as well. I think by then. But yeah, you've got these core managers.
He'll be back. I mean, he'll play 3 matches and be back off again.
Yeah, probably. Do
you know how many games he's played over the past 5 seasons? 40.
40. That's terrible, isn't it? It's dreadful.
About 8 games a season.
Yeah, that's scuppering his career massively because these players, to be a top player, not only do you have to have the quality and the hard work, you've also just got to be available. And he's not been available enough for them. But yeah, those managers, they're going to go far. Your Iriolas, your Artetas. Iriola may end up at Barcelona one day. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm just going to pull up a comment. Let me see. Let me pull up the screen. It's Christopher. Has it come up on your screen?
It has, yeah. Christopher
Beju. He says, hello, brother. Hello from me and Adam.
Hello, yeah. Hi, Chris.
Hello. If you've got any questions, Christopher, let us know in the comments. But there is your shout out, brother. If anyone's watching back, go check out Christopher Beju. Anyway, moving over to Cole Hein. I think that's a pretty obvious one.
Yeah, I mean he's staying, isn't he? He's staying at the club. I think my concern, and I think this is a concern I've shared with other Arsenal fans, is I don't think he's good enough to be a second keeper. I think we're going to need
No,
a
no.
different second keeper. But he's a handy third keeper, but he's got a lot of development and growing to go in his game. He might be very good one day, but I don't think he'll be starting too many games for us because I just don't think he's ready. But of course, we're going to keep him.
Yeah, I don't want it to turn into the one thing I don't want from this Ramsdale to go, and it turn to a Matt Turner situation all over again,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
want to bring in your other keeper. So no offense to Matt Turner, people, but he was nowhere near the level. So
yeah,
like
yeah.
you think Manchester City actually brought in Ortega on a free transfer.
Sensational.
Ortega on
Um,
a free transfer. Um, that's the type of levels. And you know what, people? I prefer Ortega to Ederson. It might sound mad, but I prefer Ortega to Ederson. I think Ederson can be erratic sometimes. That's what I personally think.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that, and then I would also shout out Liverpool's second keeper Kelleher.
Yeah, Kelleher. Do you know what?
Look
You
at how
look
well
at
he's
him,
done.
brother. You look at Kelleher and you think, what are you doing in goal, mate? Like you're going to be a pushover, don't you? You look at him. No offense,
Yeah,
you do.
he's got that look, hasn't he?
Yeah, he looks a little timid, little young timid boy, but Kelleher's great,
He's been
great
brilliant, isn't
keeper.
he? He's won them
Yeah,
trophies. He's been in goal for League Cup
he's
finals
22
and
years old.
saved penalties. I
He's
mean, he's
about
unreal.
22.
Yeah, 22, I think. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
where did they find this guy? Because he's
I
brilliant.
know. Well, actually, you know what? He might actually be older because I remember someone saying that he's older than he looks. Oh no, he's 25. He's 25. So he's
25.
still relatively. He's the same age as Ramsdale, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Because you'd say so. Ambition, but Liverpool will never loan him to anybody. I wouldn't imagine. He's just too good. So
Yeah. No. So moving over, brother. What we're doing keep loan and sell people, but we will touch on every single player their
mm.
season. So it might. I don't know if you're all right with a bit of a longer stream, Adam, but it could be a potentially quite a long stream talking about all the
Yeah,
players. Is that all
yeah,
right
of
with you?
course. Yeah, all good,
Okay.
all good.
Yeah, okay, let's have a little talk about him. So I'm going to start off, and then you can reel off me. William Saliba. What an absolute sensational player we have on our hands, Gooners. William Saliba, people. I think with Saliba, he has the highest ceiling out of
Mm,
every single Arsenal player. I know we
mm,
love Odegaard, we love Saka, we love Declan Rice. Saliba has the potential to be the first person since Fabio Cannavaro to have a Ballon d'Or, and I know that's an outlandish shout because Van Dijk didn't get it. But you think at this boy, he's 22, 23 years old, and he's already at them heights that Van Dijk was at when he was in his peak, 28, 29 years old.
yeah.
People might think I'm absolutely delusional Arsenal fan, but this is speaking truths. Whenever I speak to any other fan, they'll say Limpy Saka, they'll say this, that, the other about Declan Rice. But when it comes down to William Saliba, every single fan always say he's a great player. No one can deny it. No one can deny it. He's an
Yeah.
absolute Rolls Royce. And the thing I love about William Saliba is he draws players in, and you think, oh my god, he's going to lose the ball. He takes on three players. He just gallivants around, and he's a lovely player to watch on the eye. I don't know what you think in William Saliba, brother. Obviously, he's a keep.
Keep to the power of 2 trillion.
Yeah, exactly,
um,
brother.
Best defender in the league for me,
Yeah,
easily.
yeah.
Easily, and the same as what you're saying. Anybody point go, oh well, you're a biased Arsenal fan. No, 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 no. This guy is the best defender in the league. He outclassed Haaland in 2 games. For me, he's better than Van Dijk. He's better than Ruben Diaz. Again, asked that question last season: Diaz or Saliba? Saliba every single time.
I
He's
think Diaz is
just
overrated, brother.
agree, and I think as well. Virgil van Dijk. I mean, I know he's a great player, but obviously he made that massive mistake at the Emirates last
Yeah, with
season
Martinelli.
with Martinelli, and I just think Saliba's a different level, and I think the fact that he's 22, 23 is
Yeah,
frightening because
he's
what is
frightening,
he
brother.
going to be like at his peak? He's
Uh-huh.
going to be, to think he's not actually peaked yet
No,
is unreal. I mean, we could be looking at one of the best defenders of all time here, and I'm not saying that because I'm an Arsenal fan. I would be saying the same no matter who I supported.
Yeah.
because you can see the quality in this guy. He is absolutely unbelievable. The way he's grown so fast. I mean, if you think about it, Arteta had him out on loan in the 21-22 season.
Yeah.
I think he was playing for a French club, but the name of the French club escapes me, I think. But he was, Arteta said, look, at this point, he's not ready. I mean, look at him now. Look at him
I know.
now. 2 years
I know.
later.
Did you hear what he said to Lequit the other day? Have you heard the quotes?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I'll read them out. I won't pull it up on my phone, but basically what he said, they were speaking to him, and he said that this is exactly William Saliba's words. He says, "I have the aura of what Virgil van Dijk has now." He said that when forwards come near him, he can tell straight away that they don't want to be up against him. He says he
Yeah.
has that slight aura where they back off from him and they're a little bit
Yeah.
scared to go in a competition, which is fair enough for him saying it. And he also quoted and said that he's a top 3 centre back in the league. So William Saliba, I love the confidence. I love it. I absolutely love it. I back you all the way, William. But my only dilemma with him is, Adam, I can't help but see him in a Real Madrid top in 5-6 years' time.
Yeah, and you've said exactly what I was just thinking, mate.
Yeah,
I
I can't
think
help it.
you
Me and
know
you are on agreements with a lot of things here. We're great minds think alike.
exactly, mate. Exactly, and I think you're absolutely right. It's going to be very difficult for the Arsenal hierarchy when Real Madrid come knocking and they say we're going to give you 150 million for him.
Yeah. Well, I think this might be a bit out there, but I know we're doing buy, loan, keep, and sell. What price tag would you put him at? Where Arsenal's head gets turned. It doesn't
Oh,
have to be what we say biasness going £500 million. We don't want to sell him. What is realistically going to make Arsenal's head turn?
I think once you get to I think he's worth 100 million at this point. I think next season, if he does what he did this season again, you're looking 150 million before you even enter a conversation.
Yeah.
For me, because the what people were going to say is there are other great name a better defender than Saliba across any big European league.
No.
There isn't one. I'd argue
If
that he
arguably, if you were another team, yeah, and you had an open checkbook and you said bring in one defender to defend for you for the next 5 years, every single
single. Yeah,
team would pick
yeah.
William Saliba.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. Real. I mean, Barcelona don't have any money at the moment, but
They can't even
PSG,
afford a penny. Never mind.
PSG, that's another one that might have a
Yeah.
look. They
But
might
the,
come
the kind of
knocking.
the kind of advantage we've got with him, brother, is that William Saliba is an Arsenal fan. He's a Gooner. He grew up
Brilliant,
an Arsenal fan.
brilliant,
Yeah. Have you
brilliant.
seen him in Arsenal tops when he was a kid?
I think I did see one actually. Was he wearing
Yeah.
the O2 shirt? I think he was at one point.
Yeah, at one point, and then one of them is the Arsenal Fly Emirates. What Fabregas?
Yeah.
So he
I
has grew
yeah.
up a good. That's the kind of thing, the best legacy that Arsene Wenger obviously left this behind the Invincibles, but the best legacy he left behind is this French core of
Mm,
talent where
mm, mm.
Arsenal were a French side pretty much. So the best country in the world for talent is the French.
Yeah,
The best
definitely.
core. The best
Def-
core. I looked into that French squad. Their fourth team is better than England's squad. People
yeah,
don't want to hear it, but
agree.
it's facts. But it's
Agree. Agree. Completely
Yeah.
agree.
And
And
Saliba played the
yeah.
last 2 games. I don't know if you've seen the last friendly
Mm,
and the
mm.
compilations of Saliba in that last friendly. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It was just like him at Arsenal. He was unreal. He played left centre back as well.
Yeah, I mean, for strikers, it's like coming up against a trampoline. Strikers just bounce off him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see
But when
that
he
clip
pushed
of
over Haaland.
that I was going to say the clip that where he was going up against Haaland, and Haaland tried to turn him, and Saliba just muscles him out,
Yeah.
and Haaland ends up in a heap on the floor, just sort of crying,
Yeah.
which is
It's bad,
great.
ain't it?
And I think, I mean, I think you use open checkbook, 150, 200 million. But I think this is where we've got to be, strong and say, he's what we're planning to have. He is the core of our team. And if
Yeah.
we do get an offer in next summer or the summer after, we say, look, no, we're not selling him.
I can see it happening.
It's difficult because when you put that kind of money on the table, heads will be turned. Now, I think Real would offer 150.
I do
Yeah,
as well.
I
I
think they
agree.
would. I think they'd offer 150. And you know what Real Madrid are like, when they know that they want a player, they'll keep going until they get them.
Yeah.
So
Well, Virgil van Dijk, Adam, He went to Liverpool. Was it for £80 million, 72 million?
It was,
And
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
that was 7 years ago.
7 years ago. Yeah,
So
yeah,
think now inflation.
yeah,
I think you're looking at 150 million.
yeah. I
You
think
are.
so. I
Well,
think so.
Newcastle are pricing Isak. I know it's a completely different position, but arguably it's harder to get a better centre back than a better striker.
Mm,
I know strikers go for more, but they're pricing him at £200 million.
that's mad. It's
Have you
absolutely
not
mad.
heard that? That we went in for him and then they priced us out of it straight away, £200 million. No rebuttal, boom, no, £200 million.
Last I heard that they put £140 million price tag
Was
on
it?
its head. I didn't hear that they'd moved it now to
Yeah, the
200.
first initial thing was 200 million, and then that was just them saying back off. But I think the head would get turned for about 140. But it is what it
Yeah,
is. Are you
it
happy?
is. It
Are you
is.
happy to move on over to Benny Blanco?
Benny Blanco. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
people, if you don't know, the thing I love about this football team, and I think Adam will agree with me on this, my favourite player changes every single week. Every single week. 1 minute it's Ben White, 1 minute it's William Saliba, 1 minute it's Martin Odegaard, 1 minute it's Declan Rice, next it's Bukayo Saka. I love every one of these boys. And
Yeah.
I personally said, if we would have won the league last season, I would have hijacked the pitch and gave every one of them a smooch. I would have been smoochy town on everyone. Get what I'm saying, people? I would have been smoochy. I would have been canoodling. I would have done whatever they wanted. If we won that league last season, mate, I would have done whatever they wanted. But Benny Blanco, for me, last season, the best right back in the country. And I know we're going, best centre back, best right back. Benny Blanco going up and down. He was maybe pre-Dubai, he wasn't, but after that, he had the most goal contributions for any defender last season, I think. Any defender, any right back. I'm pretty sure it was any right back. I might be wrong by quoting any defender, but he had the most goal contributions for any right back, which obviously we've seen goals. I think he scored 5 goals and he had about 6 assists at, at right back. It's nothing compared to Bayer Leverkusen's numbers, where you have Grimaldo who had 24 goals and assists, and you had Frimpong that had 21 goals and assists, but it's still up there. I know my ball knowledge is very, very good, people, but it's only because I've been researching all the Euros teams. So I've been looking into the likes of Frimpong and people like that. Benny Blanco, brother, can you touch on? He's the last couple of games of the season when he was doing the shithousery with the gloves and stuff, and people, mate. When I played football, even at a semi-professional level, I used to grab people by that like that twist. Used to pull their armpit hairs. You do anything just to get an advantage, and that's football. So people move past it. Your thoughts on Benny White, bro?
Yeah, no, brilliant player, brilliant player. And what you were alluding to there, his finishing is actually really good for a defender. Seen him score some actually very good goals over his time at Arsenal. I'd say I want to take everybody back to 2 years ago when we got him for 50 million. Oh, what a waste of money! English tax. Oh, what's he done at Brighton? What's he done? We did. Who's talking now? Who's talking now, other than saying that he's a brilliant player?
Hello, who's talking? Hello,
Who's
anyone there?
talking? Yeah. Where are you? 50 million waste of money? 50 million looks cheap now.
Rolling Norwich's old director, the director of Norwich. Where are you now?
Let's be having you.
Let's be having you.
Yeah. I think he's fantastic. I mean, I think he's really, really, really good player. Obviously, keep to the power of whatever, and he's gonna do good things in an Arsenal shirt. I suppose the only thing, and I don't want to stray too much off the topic, is the England thing is slightly bizarre.
Well,
I don't know. I
we
don't know
can
what's
talk
gone
on
on
that.
there.
Do you know much about? Because I know everything about it pretty much. Because I've been researching.
So I heard, and you'll correct me here, but they had an argument with one of Southgate's coaches, and
Yeah.
it got bad. It became personal and quite angry, and
Can we?
he walked out of the camp. That's what I
Yeah. Do
heard.
you want me to elaborate on it?
Absolutely.
Right. So, people, you've heard me say it on the pod a few times, people. So, Benny Blanco, Ben White, they were in the changing room after. This is leading up to the World Cup finals. They're in the changing room, and then Steve Holland went to each player and asked them what's happening at club level. And he come to Ben White and he said to Ben White pretty much in these words was, what tactics they playing, because Arsenal are top of the league, they're doing so well. Can you give me a little bit of insight? And Ben White pretty much, and Ben White just goes, I'll just do what I'm told, pretty much. He was caught off guard and just goes, I'll just do what I'm told, kind of thing, Steve. And then he's come back with, you don't like football, you're a disgrace. It's along them lines. You don't like football. Your head's not with this here. You're not involved, and he's done it in front of absolutely everyone. It's the whole squad is in the changing room. So Ben White has pretty much gone. You know what? F yeah, I can't be asked. So he's gone off in a huff and a puff, and Steve Holland hasn't apologised to him. He's left camp knowing that he's the third or fourth choice right back anyway, but at the time behind Trent Alexander-Arnold, behind Kyle Walker, behind Reece James. So he goes, "What's the point? I'm here for no reason." Well, actually, it wasn't. It wasn't till the next game afterwards when we had no fit right back. We had no fit right back. We had no fit centre half, and he chose to play a left back at right back, and he chose to play another left back at centre back rather than playing Ben White. That's what Southgate did as a lesson. Here you have it. There's your lesson. And then he goes, "I'm having none of this. I'm having none of this." He left, and then he's had no apology since. Then Southgate came out in the media afterwards, and then everyone went towards Ben White because he made it. He goes, "Well, Ben White's left because of an argument, and he's in the wrong." Do you remember afterwards when he kind of come out and like stipulated Ben White had him?
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I think Southgate's quite a mild-mannered man, or he seems to be.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's dealt with this particularly well.
No. So that's exactly what's happened, brother.
Yeah, yeah, and I think he could have dealt with it in a number of ways, and the way he's chosen to go is oh, I don't know what's gone on, denying that,
Yeah.
denying things and saying he's just not available. It looks shifty and it looks just a bit strange, and if what you're saying is what happened, then it's no surprise
That was David Ornstein who put that in the Athletic.
which quite likely that's a good source, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I think it's quite likely if he's been spoken to like that. I mean, what would any of us do? I mean, you would say, well, screw you then. And
Yeah, your manager puts you on fire in front of everyone. You go, what you want about, mate? I mean, if your manager is treating you like crap at work and he's doing that in front of everyone, you walk out. You say, "Nah, I'm done with this, mate. I'm done. I'm not working for you." And that's literally what Ben White's
Absolutely.
done.
Absolutely, and what I don't agree with, Jamie, as well, is that
Yeah,
people are coming out and saying, "Oh, he's a disgrace for not playing for England." It's like, I'm sorry, you don't know the
the
full story
situation.
here. You
No.
don't know the full story, and I think it's bang out of order. There's been an issue. It's a personal issue, and if he's not had an apology, he's well within his rights to say, "I don't want to work for England while this coach
Yeah,
is there." But I think for him, it'll be interesting to see what happens with England, because obviously if Southgate doesn't do particularly well in the Euros,
I mean, he'll
my
go
my
out.
imagination is he'll be gone, and I think he's hinted that he may go anyway, no
Yeah, he
matter
has.
what
Yeah,
happens.
he has.
So I think we will see Ben White in an
Ben White
England
back
shirt
in England shirt. Yeah,
again.
and
Yeah.
the thing is, people, if there was no problem and you went into this Euros, arguably, you look at that Maguire's come out. Yeah, I know Ben White plays right back for Arsenal, but for me, in future reference, I could see a Ben White and John Stones partnership at centre back leading
Mm,
forward. Both
mm.
similar age, both similar profile. What could you see a better Ben White and John Stones centre back partnership?
That'd be fantastic, and
Of course, it would.
I think they're really missing a trick. All they need to do is pick up the phone and say, "Listen, Ben, things were said in the heat of the moment. Really
Yeah,
sorry. We do apologise." And if they did that, no doubt he'd say, "Okay, not ideal, but let's let bygones be bygones." And he'd be in the England squad. And everybody's talking about the first game and who we're going to play in defence, because Luke Shaw's got a knock and he won't be available, and who we're going to play in those centre back pairings.
yeah,
And you're right, that would have been a solution for them, a potentially really good solution for them, to just put him in there.
yeah. Of course.
And he sat at home, probably watching. Well, he doesn't watch football, does he?
No, you don't
I
know.
don't know if he'll watch the Euros, because that's a bit different.
No,
But he's
but
going to be
I
sat.
think that adds to it. Like you think, yeah. So, for example, if you love and you're passionate about something, you can make mistakes because
Mm,
you love it too much. You love it so much.
mm,
But if I go to my job, I don't particularly love it. I'm there,
mm,
but I do things right because that's my job and that puts food on my table.
mm, mm,
Do you kind of
mm.
get what I'm saying? So it can work in a benefit where he's not going to get emotional and he could just wind people up and don't care. Like
Exactly,
it works
exactly.
in his benefit. I kind of think.
Exactly, and you just reminded me with the pulling of the gloves and stuff. We needed players with a bit of edge, because
Yeah, of course.
we've had teams over the years that have been far too nice.
Yeah,
And it's been
pally
commented
pally.
on. Yeah, been commented on by the likes of Roy Keane and other
Yeah.
pundits. Arsenal are soft, and he was right. We were soft, but we're not anymore.
No, you want to
We're
go
not
toe. You
anymore.
want to play football? We'll play football. If you want to fight, they'll fight you.
Yeah,
Quite
yeah,
simple.
yeah, yeah, and it's part of the course. I mean, I think the pundits found it funny when I saw a few pundits talking about the glove thing that he did. I think people think that's brilliant. It's just
Yeah.
it's called
That is the
gamesmanship.
most standard thing. When I play football, I stand when I'm standing. So I was a keeper myself. I was a goalkeeper, but then I played for. I did both. I could do either or either. But when I'm standing there in goal and people are on me, what I used to do, I used to do madness. I used to stand on their toes and jump up so they couldn't jump with me. I used to pull my glove off, go like that, and give them a wet willy in their ear, put my glove back on, and they're doing this, and I'm jumping up and catching the ball.
Yeah,
That's the type of stuff I used to do.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's called gamesmanship, and anybody out there that thinks, "Oh, well, that's not very nice," needs to
You haven't
needs
played
to,
football. That's what it is.
well, precisely. They need to get a grip
Yeah,
because football is like that.
yeah,
And at the end of the game, it's all handshakes, well played, mate, all the rest of it. So it's a very honest sport in that way. In
yeah.
that you want to win more than anything.
Of course.
But at the end of the game, everybody shakes hands,
And
and
and,
it's
and
and
that
it's
that's what
done.
Ben White is, brother. That's what he is. They say he don't like football. He's proud. He's got pride. He's got very very much pride. A lot of it. You can see it. You can see it. And if you watch his interviews when he got called up for England, he said it was the best day of his career. The
Yeah,
best day of his career.
exactly,
So,
exactly. And Jamie, the thing is as well, is he obviously enjoys playing football because
yeah,
he's doing it. If he didn't enjoy playing football, he wouldn't be as good as he is.
of
So
course,
he enjoys playing. He enjoys playing. Whether he watches it or not when he goes home is none of anybody's business, to be honest.
exactly.
If he's doing his
If he
job,
wants to switch off, he wants to watch Netflix. That's his decision.
that's his
If he wants to watch
decision.
Peppa Pig, he can watch Peppa Pig for all I care. My kids watch it. I'll just tell you what. I'll come over for a little movie session if you want, mate. We can watch Insidious. We can watch whatever you want, lad. We can watch Sons of Anarchy. We can do whatever you want, lad. You just relax, mate. You relax. I'll massage your feet as long as you win us the title.
There you go, Ben White. You got an offer there, mate.
Yeah, there's an offer there. But I'm gonna clip this, people. I'm gonna give Ben White a massage. A massage his feet if we win the league.
Great
All right
stuff.
then. So shall we move over to Yorian Timber? Your thoughts?
Mm.
Obviously, he's a keep. Are you in agreement?
Oh yeah, keep 100%. I mean, this one's an interesting one because, of course, we haven't seen very much of him because he's been
No.
injured all season. But he's a great player, and I think we all. It's a funny one. Somebody said in an interview recently, "Isn't it funny that we all know he's a great player despite the fact we haven't seen him
Yeah, it's
play?"
mad, ain't it?
But we just know, don't we? And I think when he's back next season, Arteta's going to have a bit of a selection headache, but a good one because
Yeah.
Timber offers us something that we didn't have before we got him in, and I think he's going to do some really good stuff in an Arsenal shirt next season. Just crossing my fingers that he stays uninjured next year. He needs a full season under his
Yeah,
belt.
100%. Going in with a full pre-season, you know that first drop of the shoulder, that's going to hit like you know what,
Yeah,
that first drop of the shoulder. He always
yeah,
does that little drop of the shoulder and brings the player in, don't he, and goes.
yeah, yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
That's his little thing. But I think we've covered Joran Timber quite. We can't really touch on it too much, but
No,
he did
no.
impress us in the Community Shield. He impressed us in the preseason very much so. But we look forward to seeing you next season, Joran Timber. That's if you're watching. I really hope you are. If you are, drop me a DM, my brother. Anyways, let's move on over to the big powerhouse Brazilian,
Mm,
Gabriel. My thoughts on Gabriel, excellent, excellent last season. He took away, he's a keep, people. He's a
mm,
keep again. He took away that silliness in his game, where he'd do a foul and you're like, why have you just fouled there? Or he'd
mm,
give the ball
mm,
away.
mm,
He's matured so much. And at the back, him and that Saliba partnership is absolutely sensational. And people don't see this, but he is a massive, massive leader in this group. Whether
yeah.
he speaks good English, he on the pitch, when he puts in a tackle, he's like, wow, going absolutely mad.
Mm, mm,
Sound claimer there.
mm,
Sorry for shouting in your ears, people. But he's one of them. We've needed someone like him. So I don't know if I know I'm waffling. That's hence the point of Jamie Waffles footy. But Gabriel, yeah, when you've got a good centre back partnership, yeah. So we can go back to Rio Ferdinand, Nemanja Vidic. We can go
yeah.
to John Stones and Ruben Diaz. We can go back
Mhm,
to all these type of players. You always have your hard hitting centre back, and you have your Rolls Royce, Van
mhm,
Dijk, Joel Matip. These type of people, you have to have that one defender who's just going to go in and crunch someone, and you have that
mm,
one defender who's like, yeah, I can play the ball, I can play football, I can
mm,
do this, I can get us out of trouble. Do you agree? Are you in agreement on that? The Rolls Royce, and then you have your aggressive centre back. That's the perfect combination for any centre back partnership throughout the Premier League years over the past 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Gabriel has been sensational. He was. I will say this, that a few seasons ago, I found some of his in-game tactical moves is very irritating. So he was giving away silly penalties and fouls,
Yeah,
and
me too.
I thought to myself, he really needs to iron that out of his game. But he seems to have done that.
Yeah.
And as you say, Saliba, you've got the smooth, Rolls Royce sort of bit of
Yeah.
a,
I
bit of a
smile every time you say Saliba. I smile.
yeah, yeah. He's like, it's like having, a beautiful sort of sports car that glides,
Yeah,
on, and that's exactly what Saliba is. And Gabriel's the gears, the gears that go in the car, and
yeah, definitely.
the two of them together are perfect. And you need, Saliba's not going to be as good as he is if he doesn't have a partner like Gabriel.
Precisely.
Imagine, let's imagine Saliba and Kivior playing together. It's
Yeah.
not going to be the same. Or and again, I've I've pulled out poor Rob Holding on a couple of my videos
Oh, me too,
recently.
mate. Me too.
But Saliba and Rob Holding, I mean, it's not the same. You need a really good pair, and as you say, you've had Ferdinand Vidic, Saliba, and Gabriel could well be just as good, if not better. Let's think big. I mean, these guys can win us the league. You need a good defense to win a Premier League. So
And our
we've got that.
defence last season should have won us the league. Quite simple.
Yeah, we've conceded the least amount of goals. We've just got to make sure we do that again and add to our attacking flair. And we'll come on to this, I'm sure, later on when we talk
Yeah, we
about
will.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
strikers. But we looked in the couple of the games we lost, we looked a little bit out of ideas. But anyway, we'll leave that till
Yeah,
later on.
later on. Shall we? We both touched on Gabriel. It's a keep.
Definitely keep.
Yeah, I think this one, Cedric Suarez. I'll tell you an interesting story regarding Cedric Suarez. Cedric, if you're watching as well, I know your cousin, mate. But anyway, I worked in a factory over in Coventry. I was the shop. I was I was the floor leader, so I go around, I'd sign people in. I was their boss, pretty much.
Mm,
Yeah. And
mm.
one of my forklift drivers, I had to sign him in one day, and I seen the last name Suarez, the way that Cedric's is spelled, and I was like, I'm an Arsenal fan. And like I was thinking, he goes, yeah, Cedric's my cousin. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, brother. Pulls out his phone, he showed me pictures of them growing up as a family. He shows them all
Wow.
in the family, him, Cedric holding his kids and stuff like. I was just baffled. I looked at him and I was just like, I can't chat to you right now, mate. And I just walked off. I didn't know what to say to him, and then I left him about 2 weeks later. But I didn't speak to him ever again since, because I was just even noticed Cedric's cousin. I was starstruck because it was Arsenal. He was Arsenal. Like I was like, oh no, what do I do here? Even though it was only
Yeah.
Cedric Suarez, but at the time, this was about 3 years ago. So it was when Cedric was in and around the team as well. It weren't like now. It
Yeah.
was when he was kind of in and around the team. But
Yeah.
I do think he needs to go. He's taken up a wage. I think he's on about £100,000 a week. I think it's around that mark. So he does. He's been a good little utility player for us, but he was there to plug holes when we had no money, and
Agree.
I think he's done a good job for us. But
Agree.
it's kind of like a Mo Al-Neni. He's
Yeah.
done the job.
Yeah.
Move on. Thank
Exactly.
you so much, Cedric. But move on. Your thoughts?
Completely agree with Jamie. Yeah, I think he was with us at a time where we had the likes of your Mustafis and people like that who I wasn't a great lover of
Definitely.
his, as many Arsenal fans I'm sure would agree with that. But Cedric, yeah, he's done fine, but we need to be clinical and say we need to get him off the wage books. Wish him the best of luck because he seems like a lovely bloke.
Shake his hand, and
Um,
that's it.
shake his hand and move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving over to Jakub Kivior, I'm gonna touch on this straight away, people. On my Arsenal Daily News, if you watched it yesterday, Juventus are heavily linked with Jakub Kivior, and apparently coming out from I can't, it's a very Tutto Masalo, whatever it's called over in Italy. Um, but it's a big source over there. Tuto Mikalo Webb. People know what I'm talking about. They've been heavily linked, and they're saying that Arsenal are willing to bargain with at £20 million, which I think is a no. I think we need to keep Jakub Kivior. You take away Jakub Kivior, he's last season, people. he might not be the best player, but left back, he did so well coming in as a centre back, coming into that left back position last season. People, you really underrate how good of a season he actually had. He had a 7.5 season, I personally think. He came in when we had Uran Timber was out, Zinchenko was out, we were in strife, and he came in and filled in that position and did it capably. He didn't stand out, but he was capable. He kept us at that level. We didn't look poor with him in there. We looked like the same side as when Zinchenko, or potentially even better than when Zinchenko came in. What are your thoughts on Kivior? I want to keep him.
Yeah, keep for me. I think he's shown over the last couple of seasons some really good development, and I think he's going to be a really good player. I find it a little bit bizarre that they are thinking clearly. They're thinking about what they want to do with him. For me, it's pretty straightforward. You keep him, at the club, and you let him develop, and he'll end up being a very decent player. I think next season he'll get a fair bit of game time if we keep him. He'll be playing FA Cup, League Cups, games, maybe some of the Champions League games. He looked out of his depth in the buying game at home, I'm afraid to say.
Yeah, he did.
But
Yeah, very much
but
so.
but that's to be expected, really, isn't it? It's a very high level Champions League, and players need time to develop to become, these established players in tournaments like that. So I think Kivior, you 100% keep him. I think selling him would be a real waste of his talent.
I'm
And I don't think 20 mil's enough either, to be
No,
honest.
neither do I. Neither do I. I'm in complete agreement with you. I don't even sit at the table, walk away in disgust at 20 million. Anyways,
Yeah.
moving on. We'll run through Tomiyasu quickly because we're on nearly an hour already. So we're on the defense. I don't know if you want to do a 4-hour podcast, but it's looking that way. Tomiyasu keep.
Tomiyasu keep, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Zinni. This is kind of what I kind of find with Zinni last season. He reminded me of Arsenal the season before, but the bad things the season before. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
Zinni is a great. I don't want him to go. I like him to stay because I think he is a leader. He's had that experience. He's won many trophies with Manchester City. Just as a shame it's not with us yet. But I do think when he came on, it reminded me of when we were erratic last season, where we didn't have control of games, where it was all over the place. We could be going there, we could be winning 4-3. What I want, boys, people think this is boring, but I want to go to teams and win 2-0 and not have to worry about anything. I want to
Mhm.
sit there and be bored with the game and just go, oh, yeah, sound, we've won the match. That's what I
Yeah.
want. I don't want to be back and forth. I don't want that. And Zinchenko gave me that impression last season, but I would keep. What about you, brother?
Um, this is an interesting one for me, actually. To be honest, I'm fairly undecided because I can see the argument if somebody comes in and offers you 40 million quid for him, and I
Oh,
know,
if it was that much, I'd say yes.
yeah, I know Bayern are looking at him supposedly. So in an ideal world, I'd give him another season, but I think he needs to do better next season. And I completely agree. He looked erratic at times, and I think he needs to do a bit better next year. But I think I'd probably keep him, just about.
Yeah. I'm in complete agreement. And people, we're 53 minutes into the podcast. If you could hit that 3-punch combination by liking, subscribing, and commenting down below, do the 3-punch combo, bam, bam, bam. That's it, people. So, and then I also go over to Ardent Gooners Network over on YouTube as well. I will tag him in the description, so you will see it above here now. So go over to his channel, subscribe over there, like and comment over him as well. Show the boys some love. We're giving you some good content. But yeah, so moving over to the midfielders, we have Thomas Partey. My thoughts on Thomas Partey, if from the seasons before, he was absolutely exceptional, but he's very injury prone, as we both know. If we're still going to bring in another centre midfielder and we don't get a good offer for him, 25 million pound, I think, for Thomas Partey now towards the end of his career. If someone comes with a silly offer like 10 million pound now, I don't want it. I'd rather see him see out his contract if the offer ain't suitable. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if you get a good offer, you sell him. His injury problems are the issue. I did a video on my channel down at the Emirates where we were talking about Party a little bit during that, and some of the guys said definitely go. I'm not in the same way. I think Partey, if he's available, can be a really good addition. So I wouldn't be taking the likes of 5, 10,
No,
11 million for him, but then I would probably take 20, 25 million for him.
fair
So
enough.
I think this is a conditional stay, but you would sell him if the money was on the table, you'd sell him. Good money. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, exactly right. I'm in complete agreement. Moving over to Martin Odegaard. Obviously it's a massive keep. The
mm,
thing is with Martin, what people fail to realise is that we paid £30 million for him, and that transfer market there, where we got Odegaard, we got Ben White, we got these players in that there. So where Chelsea have brought all these other players in, they've done this, they've done that, and they're still at the same position. That transfer that summer helped us progress really, really well. So that's where Edu, Richard Garlick, Mikel Arteta and the team have done so well with them signings, because it took us to that kind of next level where we haven't really had a flop signing out of there. It was a really, really good transfer window, the window where Martin Odegaard come in. But yeah, leader on the pitch, captain, everything needs to be said about him. He's absolutely sensational. He's still 24 years old. I'd put him up there. I don't think I'd take anyone in that cam position over him at the moment for an Arsenal team. KDB, if it was a Man City team. So for Arsenal, his role is that press, that leading from the front,
mm,
so majestic. It's like, I don't know about you, Adam, but I had the same thing with Özil. I love watching a creative left-footed player. I think
mm.
it hits differently to a right-footed creative player. I don't know why, but that's just how I feel when it comes to a creative left-footed player when they play them balls in. And
Yeah,
I don't know why
yeah.
left-footed player just sits well with me, and I don't really know why. But that's my thoughts on Martin Odegaard. Keep. What about you, brother?
Oh, keep
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, he's going to be what we build around over the
yeah,
next,
100%.
5, 7, maybe
Yeah,
even as far as 7, 8 years. Odegaard, I adore Odegaard. Every
same,
time I
man.
go to the Emirates, and I'm lucky enough to go pretty much every game as a season ticket holder, but there's always Odegaard pushing the team forward. You'll see him, he's doing this with his arm, sort of
Yeah.
like pushing players up the field. He always works hard. That's what I love about him. Even if he doesn't have a good game, he works so hard for the team. And he's, as you say, yeah, the left-footed thing's an interesting one, because I completely get what you mean.
Yeah,
He's got a sprinkle of magic, hasn't he, Odegaard? You
yeah,
watch him play and you just think that you're just kind of magical. Some of the stuff you're doing with the ball is
yeah.
just
Just for
fantastic.
an example, if Emil Smith Rowe did the same thing as what Martin Odegaard does, I'd find it nicer, Martin Odegaard, just because it's left-footed, and I don't really know why. It was the same with Jack Wilshere. I used to love watching Jack Wilshere play, same as Lionel Messi, because they're left-footed and they're low gravity. I love that side. I don't know what it is, but I just do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, there's just something magical about Odegaard when he plays really, really well, which he does actually in a lot of games. He gets into
Yeah,
pockets. Some of the balls he plays are just marvelous. I mean, anybody remember that 1-0 game against Porto to take
yeah.
them
We
to
played
extra
Trossard.
time, where he played that little dink ball into Trossard?
Mm.
Just magic.
Majestic. The
Martin
pass,
Odegaard,
pass the season last season was that one to Kai Havertz.
yeah, as well. Yeah. That was just he's magical every game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna declare my undying love for Martin
Yeah.
Odegaard.
You want to go smoochy town on Martin
Oh
Odegaard, don't you?
yeah.
No homo people. We just love our boys, man. Like, we love our boys. I'm straight, but I love my boys, man. Like, but there's no whatever you are, that's fine. But like, yeah, I'd go smoochy town if we win the league, boys. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Bringing
Straight apart from when Arsenal players are involved.
yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Whatever they want, they've got, man. Whatever they want, they've got. Moving on to Jorginho, he's just signed a new contract. I think it's a further. I think it's 2 years with a further year extension. I think that's a classy bit of business. We had a bit of shrewd business. So fair play to Edu and Mikel Arteta and Richard Garlick for that one, because Jorginho came in, and even last season when Partey was injured, he came in and he played that role so well. But I just don't think that Jorginho, with how much games we play, I think that's why he started struggling, because we're playing 2 to 3 games every 10 days. He can't do that. He can't physically do it. He's getting to that age. He's not that type of player where he can roam up and down the pitch. He's not as mobile, and he's always been that way. But one game every 2 weeks is Jorginho, and then for the big games, he can come in and fill in a gap. And I think we definitely need that cover. What about you, brother?
Yeah, definitely. For me, Jorginho's a keep. I think you're right. He needs to be playing probably less football, so you use him as and when you need him. Really, we don't need him starting games necessarily, but he's a good substitute option, and he's a good option for games. You know, sort of the FA Cups and the League Cups, and on that point, I want us to challenge in every competition next season, including the League Cup. I don't want anything thrown away. We've got to prioritise every competition we're playing in. But Jorginho, yes, I can see him having a role next season. Is he going to be a starter every game? No. But is he going to have an important role to play? Quite possibly. So keep it.
Kind of like the Champions League group stages and
Yes,
like
exactly right.
the
Yeah,
Leicester
exactly
teams
right.
and stuff like that. Just like in
Yeah,
moments, like even in
yeah,
moments when we need to see out games and stuff like that, he's good to come in because of the experienced head on him.
yeah.
Shall we
Brilliant.
move over to ESR, Emil Smith Rowe? I'll let you lead with this one, brother.
Yeah, Emil Smith Rowe. So when I first became a season ticket holder,
Yeah,
I got my season ticket offer in the summer of 2021. So it was that first season back where you could go to games where it was full stadiums after COVID. And Emil Smith Rowe in that season was just unbelievable. He scored so many goals. So we ended that season in fifth. Very unlucky not to get
yeah,
fourth,
very
but
tough.
he was a big part of our season that season, Emil Smith Rowe.
Yeah,
And he was during that 2021 COVID season as well. But I just don't know what it is. Arteta seems to not suddenly not really back him, or I don't know. I don't know what's gone on there, but I think maybe something's going on behind the scenes. Not that they've fallen out necessarily, but I think he seems to have lost a lot of confidence. And I've seen Smith Rowe at his best, and he's magical when he's at his
yeah,
best. When I went to the game against Chelsea, the 5-0.
yeah.
Sorry, Chelsea fans, but to rub that in there. He was brilliant because he started the game, that game, and he was really, really good, especially in the first half. Played very, very well. Smith Rowe, I'm going to be different to other Arsenal fans here. I'm going to be controversial. I want to keep him.
Yeah, I can back it. I can back it. My kind of thoughts is the same as you. That season, him and Saka and Emil Smith Rowe, and I like
Mm,
it. Yeah. Smith Rowe carried us that season with Saka. They both did. They carried us through hard times. I love Emmy. I absolutely love him. He's Arsenal through and through. He's
mm,
exactly what we want as players. You want players that are Arsenal fans and then they come and
mm,
play for our club because
mm,
they love the club and then they'll
mm,
do anything that's right for the club. And I think personally, I don't want him to leave. Let me put that on record. I do not want him to leave. But because I love Emil Smith Rowe, I think going out, whether it's on loan or selling, is the best thing for his career. And that's saying that as a fan of Emil Smith. I'm an Arsenal fan, but I back every single player who puts on an Arsenal shirt, which everyone should. We can criticise, we can say what we want about certain players, but when you start abusing players, you start saying things, that's a no-no, people.
absolutely agree. Absolutely
Yeah,
agree,
that's
Jamie.
a no-no.
And maybe, yeah, keep with the caveat of a loan because he's still our
Yeah,
player if he goes on
no
loan.
loan with a obligation to buy or anything like that.
Yeah, just a straight loan, just 1 year, go and play some football, and then come back because he's still young enough, isn't he? How old is Emil Smith Rowe?
Emil Smith Rowe is 23 years old.
He's 23. He's still so young. He's still
Yeah.
so young.
So I think where I could see him with a loan move at Brentford.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant shout. Brilliant
Yeah,
shout. I can see
Brentford.
that as well. That'd be a great club for him. A
Yeah, and then
really great club
he
for
could go
him.
apply his trade, impress, come back stronger, get some games behind his back. Because the thing is, because what the problem is, Adam, with the thing is with Emil Smith Rowe, why I find it so hard to come in, is because the teams at that level up here. Whereas when he comes in, he's got to try and just go straight to that level, but he's here. So when he's coming in, he's kind of sitting at this level where he's a good utility player, but he ain't good enough to push for the squad yet, which I kind of find. So moving on, people, Adam has just left. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to carry on by myself. I think he's back here now. Let me just pull him back in. Hello, brother. I can see you. There you are, bro.
I'm so sorry, mate.
No,
To all viewers, prank call, just cold callers. Cold
oh,
call came
mate, I
through.
get them all the time.
Chuck me off. Unbelievable. It's
It's
very
all
silly.
good. So yeah, so we're
Yeah.
both in agreement that a loan could probably possibly be a
A
bet.
loan. Yeah,
Yeah, brilliant.
loan. ESR on loan to Brentford. I can see that.
Yeah, so moving on to Mo, we already know that Mo's left, so I don't really think we need to touch much on that. Thank you for your service, Mo. You've been at the club
Yeah,
for a very, very long time. We appreciate everything you've done, and
agree.
then we wish you the best for the future. And congratulations on a good Arsenal career.
Yeah, yeah,
You back in that
completely.
as well, mate? Yeah.
Completely agree. I actually drove next to his car on one occasion when I was leaving the Emirates. He was
Did you?
driving in a white Range Rover, and I waved at him, and he looked at me saying, "Who are you?" And then he saw my Arsenal shirt, gave me a big smile and a wave. So Mo Elneny, all the best, mate. You've been brilliant.
Yep. Fabio Vieira. For me, it's a keep because
Mm.
I think it's definitely a keep. See out this season. I think we've seen moments, but it's just not there yet. I think he came in. Edu and Mikel Arteta were looking for a Bernardo Silva type of signing because that's what I can kind of put him at. Like he looks like a
Yeah,
Bernardo Silva type of player. I think that's what they wanted. Like where you could just bring
yeah,
him on, you could bring him on the left, you could bring him in on the
yeah,
right, you could play him through the
yeah.
middle. He's just
Yes.
somewhere like, but he just hasn't hit them heights of what we
No.
expected. But I
No.
think that's what that signing was, where it could be a Bernardo Silva. Do you agree on that?
Yeah, completely agree. And I'd never actually thought of it like that, but actually I can completely see what you're saying. It's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, he's impressed me in a few games this season.
Yeah,
There was a game he played early in the season against Fulham. That was it, 2-2 at the Emirates, and he won us a penalty, and he played really well in that game.
I
I
agree.
think I don't know if he started or he came on, but either way, he was brilliant. Keep Fabio Vieira; he'll develop.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that one. We'll keep moving on fairly quickly. Declan Rice. I don't know what more I can say, but you know when we signed him, it's obviously a keep people, but when we signed him for 105 million, like I weren't, I knew him. I've seen him play for England. I've seen him play for West Ham, but when he's come over, I didn't realise he was this good, brother. I
Oh
really did. You realise Declan Rice was this good? I did not
no,
realise he was this good.
no,
He's
no.
hands down. Saliba is our best, highest ceiling player, but he's hands down on my team sheet.
Mm.
He is the first
Every
one.
game, every game, every game.
He's our most important player. He's not our best player. He's our most important player. Do you agree?
Yeah, and Jamie, I'm going to fire a question at you here.
Yeah,
Potential Arsenal captain?
yeah, 100%,
Me too.
100%. He's so obviously we've got all our vice captains and so on. It's Gabby Jesus, it's Gabriel. He is the next captain. He
Yeah,
is the vice captain.
yeah,
When
he's
Odegaard ain't wearing, Odegaard leads on the pitch. He leads on the pitch, and when he talks, you can tell he's definitely. I wouldn't strip Odegaard of the captaincy because he don't deserve to be stripped, kind of thing. But if Odegaard ain't the captain, Declan Rice is the captain. Kind of Granit Xhaka. That's what Granit
yeah,
Xhaka was like in the background.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you in
Declan's
agreement with
Declan.
that?
Oh gosh, I absolutely love Declan Rice. I love him as a bloke as well. You know, when he's
Oh
interviewing,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
just sensational. And again, there's a lot of jokes, aren't there? You know that some of these players, there's nobody else you'd let go with your missus, but you might with with
yeah.
Declan Rice.
I'd let him on the canoodle subject. I'll let him have a little canoodle with my missus anytime. Do
Same here, mate.
you know what I mean? I'm just going to pull up a stat because obviously I've done all the Euro things. I've done England's group. I've got a bit of knowledge. For Arsenal last season, he had 6 goals and 7 assists, which is
Yeah,
very, very, very good for a CDM, a defensive midfielder.
yeah,
But he did play as the 8
he did.
to
Yeah,
to the 6, where people don't realise. I know it's touching on Martin Odegaard. People think we still play with a 10. We don't. We play with 2 8s and we play with a 6, and sometimes we play with a double pivot, which
yeah,
Declan Rice does sit in. Am I
yeah.
talking facts there, brother?
Oh, 100%. And I
Yeah.
think next season as well. I mean, he said, hasn't he, in interviews that, Arteta's going to try and get him in that position where he can score more goals and add goals to his game. And he's already doing that. You've seen him do that. He scored a really nice one against Bournemouth in the 3-1.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, 3-0 wasn't it? But yeah, he was brilliant. And I think he's got unlimited potential. I mean, he
So do I.
could be one of the world's best.
I think he already is.
I think he is as well. I think in that position he is. I think again you're talking about possible, Ballon d'Ors in the future maybe
Yeah.
for
Do,
this
do you
guy.
know?
I
Do you
mean,
know how
it's
you know how
insane.
good he is? because we spent £105 million. I haven't heard one person say to me, "Oh, he's £105 million." I ain't heard one person.
No, quite the opposite. I mean, I think most Arsenal fans now realise that that was a bargain, a
We
real
got him
bargain.
half price.
We got him half
We
price.
got him half
Declan Rice.
price. Declan
Declan
Rice.
Rice. We got
We
you half
got him
price.
half price.
Love it.
There we
Love
go.
it. Love it.
There's a
Love it.
little duet from the Righteous Brothers there, the Blues Brothers.
We
Right.
did. We did.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
I'm loving the chemistry, brother. I'm loving it.
Good
Shall
stuff.
we move over to King Kai? King Kai was the second half of that season. He scored 12 goals in the last 16 games as a centre forward for us. His goal contribution was absolutely exceptional. We all know what we get with Kai, and he is a majestic player. He's a Dimitar Berbatov type of player. People don't realise. When people were criticising him, I was watching him, and everyone was saying to me, "Oh, you defend him too much," but I could see what was coming with him. I could see there was something there. And there's no people. You ain't going to dig up and find receipts on me saying anything bad about Kai, because I won't. But if he deserves to be criticised, he deserves to be criticised.
Yeah.
We can do that as a fan, and that's why we pay, and that's why we watch him on TV or we go to the games, because we have that divine right. But my thinking behind this, Adam, is that I'm going to put something outlandish out there, what people might say deluded gooner. But here, people, I don't think this is bias at all. If Germany, so I did a prediction yesterday where Germany got to the final of the Euros. If that is the case, he's going to be up there for the golden boot with Kylian Mbappe. That's my thoughts. Moving over to you, Adam.
Yeah, I can see it. I think, he's probably in a stage in his career now. This is as confident as he's ever been. And
He's still 24 years old. He's younger than Eddie Nketiah.
So young.
Did you know he's younger than Eddie Nketiah?
Do you know, I didn't, mate. I didn't know he was 24. I thought he was a little bit older than that. But
He's younger than Eddie Nketiah, Kai Havertz.
What's the ceiling? What's the ceiling for a guy like that? I mean, he's been brilliant. I think we need to sign a striker still, but I think what he's done, and it's quite funny, isn't it? It's quite amusing that the Arsenal fans, 60 million down the drain, Kai Havertz
scores again.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what's? Let me say something about that, brother. I don't know if you know, I've got identical twin girls at 6. I don't think I've ever put it. I don't really put it out there. I've got identical twins, and some out Rose. So my eldest one, she's 1 minute older, but she always sings to me. She always goes, "Samina mina, waka waka, She goes, 60 minutes. I have it. She loves the song, brother. She loves it. Next time you're on here, and then if she ain't at school, I'll let her know. I'll get her to come on here. Actually, I won't show her face or anything, but I'll FaceTime her and get her to sing it. But she loves that song. She loves Kai Havertz. She loves the song, bless her. She don't know nothing about football, but she loves the song, brother.
yeah. It's such a great song, isn't it? And I think Mikel Arteta, shout out to Mikel here, said that it's his favourite chant that we do at the Emirates. He loves it as well. So yeah, amazing stuff.
It is amazing stuff. So we're on agreement with that. Keep. Gabby Jesus, my personal opinion with Gabby is, because obviously we think we're going to get a centre midfielder, we're going to get a forward, we're going to get a left back, we're going to get a right winger. We're not going to get all of the above. I think if we bring in another forward, if Gabriel Jesus wants to play this role where he's a backup to Saka, he's a backup to the striker, he will still get plenty of minutes. I think that could be a potential there where we don't have to quite plug that right wing position yet, because there's a bit more important position. I know everyone wants a right winger, but Gabriel Jesus is very, very capable of playing that right wing position, as we've seen when we actually beat Man City. When we beat them this season, the only time we beat them in the Community Shield, but the only time we beat them in 90 minutes was when Gabriel Jesus played right wing. That's what we're kind of forgetting. And I think he can plug that hole, and he can plug forward, and he can plug left wing. So I think he's a great player that can play across the line. So I would keep unless a good offer comes in. What about you?
Agree. Keep. And I think he does a job. But I think the thing with Gabriel Jesus is he offers you so much with his game, but not necessarily goals. So what we need to do is we need to repurpose him in a different position. He does a lot of really good intricate work when he's surrounded by players. His footwork is incredible. His dribbling is incredible. Yeah. And I think he offers us a lot. He just doesn't offer us what we signed him for.
You can tell he's playing injured, can't you, brother? Because you know when he came in, when he first came in, that first 3 months, I was like, wow, he's our best player by far. Like, he stood out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
He was
He
so
did.
good when him and Zinchenko came in. I watched him. I
That
was like,
was unreal.
mate, he's a real. Because even Zinchenko said it, and a couple of Man City players have said it. I don't know if you've seen him say it, but Zinchenko, when they asked him who's the best player you've ever played with and who have you trained with, and he goes, Gabriel Jesus. He goes,
Yeah,
even at Man City when he trained, he was the best player on the pitch. He was the best
yeah,
player on the pitch. Even you had De Bruyne, you had everyone there, and he said in training, best player on the pitch by far. But
yeah. I can see
no,
that. I can see that. He's got so many qualities. Funnily enough, I think with Gabriel Jesus, if we were to sign a striker, like a
yeah,
clinical number 9 type striker, I think it really improved Gabriel Jesus's
yeah, because
game
the
because
pressure wouldn't be on him.
exactly, pressure off. So you get a free run and you see the best of him then. So I think
That's a
we need to
very,
do
very,
that.
very valid point, brother. Very, very. I'm in complete agreement with you there.
Yeah, so keep him. Absolutely keep him.
Yeah, Bukayo Saka, people, you know how much I love this boy. I stick up for him left, right, and centre. On my lives, he gets constant abuse. I was at Aston
Mm,
Villa in the Villa end,
mm,
and he got
mm.
torrid abuse, racial abuse. I'm not going to talk on the media agenda. I'm not going to talk on the racist agendas and stuff like that. I'm just going to talk on solely how much of a exceptional player this boy is. And
Yeah,
Arsenal through and through. He's a young black player, so we should need to back him, get behind him. He's playing for our country. He's playing at the highest possible level. He has come leaps and bounds since that miss, and I love him to bits. I love his personality. I love him. I absolutely adore the lad. I absolutely adore him. But yeah, I think it goes without saying, if they come in and said we'll take every single player away from you, you can keep one. That's my boy. I'd keep. I love him. I love him. What about you, brother?
same, absolutely same thing. I think it's just amazing, and his mental resilience is just second to none. It's just unbelievable, and he's going to achieve amazing things in his career. Saka, I wouldn't accept if we had a bid of 250 million. I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
accept
accept
it.
it.
I wouldn't accept. I wouldn't accept it. I wouldn't
No,
accept
and I
it.
think there'd be
So,
so much turmoil if
yeah,
mate, I don't care if a £500 million bid came in. I don't care. I think we could
No,
replace him. And
no.
what he is to us fans, I know a lot. This is what Newcastle fans are saying with Isak. That's why he's that price, yeah. But
Yeah,
Saka
yeah.
is our boy.
He's our
Isak
boy. He
ain't your boy,
can't go.
Newcastle fans.
Yeah,
Isak didn't come through your system. Isak is an Arsenal fan. Why do you think he wears number 14? Comes in from the left wing. His
yeah.
favourite player is Thierry Henry.
It's a weird one
Said it in
that
many
as
many
well.
interviews. He's an Arsenal
Yeah, it's a strange one with Isak because I was under the impression Newcastle had to sell players
yeah.
because of financial fair play, but they don't seem like they're making that easy for anybody. So
They're
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was wrong
No,
about that.
they do have to comply with FFP by the end of the 30th of June, but they get rid of Miguel Almiron, Callum Wilson.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
players.
lesser players. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're just doing a bit of a flood because they've still got some championship players in there as well.
They do. They do. Yeah, yeah.
So that was
Yeah,
their
good point.
problem last season. Where I know they got a lot of injuries, but we did that season before.
Yeah,
Their
yeah.
squad depth is not good. It's
No,
not good. It's not good
no,
at all. No.
no.
You have the likes of that even like the starting Jacob Murphy. Like, I'm from Coventry, and I've watched quite a few. I watched Coventry City games with Jacob Murphy in the side. That's where he come from, Coventry, and
Yeah.
he ain't nothing special. Like so,
No. They need to obviously build around their best players too, because I think they had a very poor season last season.
so
And
do I.
you
Don't
know,
get me wrong. I hope the best for them because I don't know if you know this, brother. Um, when I was growing up, I don't know if you've ever heard me say this before. Up to 6 years old, I was actually a Newcastle fan. as a as a child, but
yeah,
that's because I loved Alan Shearer. It weren't Newcastle. I loved Alan Shearer growing up. I was only a
Shearer
kid.
was yeah,
People, I'm Arsenal through and through. I'm an Arsenal boy. But when I was a child, I loved Alan Shearer. So I used to get Newcastle tops of Shearer on the back of it. I loved him because at that point, this is 1993. I was born, so it's early 90s, mid 90s, and that's when Shearer was
yeah,
at his peak. And then my
yeah,
big brother supported Arsenal, and then he got me on the bandwagon with Dennis Bergkamp. And then when I started growing up, it was the Invincibles, Thierry Henry. When the Invincibles happened, I was 11, 12 years old. So,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah,
was still a reasonable age to know what was going on. So, anyways, moving over to Eddie and Ketia. I think this is a sell. He's got to go.
yeah,
Um, I appreciate him. I think he is a great player. one of the Arsenal games I did go and see, I watched, it was at CBS Arena, which is Coventry City, and it was the Arsenal under-21s. This was 6 seasons ago. Eddie Nketiah, Joe Willock, Bukayo Saka were part of the team, and Eddie Nketiah stood out like a sore thumb. He was that day. It was against Coventry's first team. It was a John Payne Trophy. You know that one?
Yeah,
Yeah, where
Johnson's Paint
under 21s
Trophy.
are part of it. And
Yeah,
Eddie Nketiah that day was absolutely brilliant. This is before Bukayo Saka. He was in the squad, but until like 2 years later, I thought I've actually watched Bukayo Saka live before at youth level, because I didn't even realise he was part of the squad, because Eddie Nketiah was that good.
Yeah,
He was that good at that level,
yeah.
but he just hasn't come. He's not good enough to play
No.
for Arsenal Football Club. That's the problem, people. I think
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a low. I think he could do well at like a Crystal Palace.
I was exactly. It's funny you read my mind. I was
Me and you
exactly
think
gonna,
so well, like alike, don't we?
100%, mate. Yeah, I was going to say Palace. I think he'd be a really good fit for Palace. I
So do
really
I.
do. In fact, I would encourage him to go there. I think
Yeah,
that'd be a
I would
great,
as
great,
well.
great
I
move for
hope
him.
all the best for him. I love him as a player, and I love him that he's Arsenal. But sorry, Eddie, like
It,
you're not good
yeah.
enough. You're not quite good enough, mate. And
No,
that's no
that's it.
fault to him.
Yeah.
England's under-21s leading scorer, scored the most goals at England youth level, more than anyone in history. But he ain't ready for us.
No, no,
I,
no.
I wish him all the best. I hope he goes, and then when he hits like 27, 28, he hits his peak and he plays really well and then comes back. But I don't see it happening because he's older than Kai Havertz.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
it's a
thing
bit mad
is,
to think that he's older than Kai Havertz, isn't it?
it's mad. And I think the thing is with Eddie, he's not as young anymore as people think he is,
He's
and
24.
he's been around for a while, and I think the development just hasn't been quite good enough. He's a lovely lad, works very hard, but the quality just isn't enough. He's not a title winning player.
No, he's not.
You'll never see, if you offered Eddie Nketiah to the 19 other Premier League clubs, I think only 9 or 10 would take him. I think it'd be 50-50. And I think the 9 or 10 would be mid-table to lower half of the division clubs. So I think Crystal Palace would be great for Eddie, but it's time to go for Eddie,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I'm just going to give a shout out to crazy_editor 365. What's up, my brother? Thank you for tuning in again. If you don't know, Adam, he's a regular. He came
Yeah,
on my last pod with Sparks, and he said that I deserve the YouTuber of the Year award. He watches all my content. That's what he
great
said. So
stuff.
got my brother. Big shout out. So if anyone's watching this on playback, go and give crazy_editor 365 a follow, because he is a lovely, lovely lad, and he says some kind words on here. Yeah. So and then one more thing I want to touch on. I've gained 2 new subscribers from this live. So Harry Popov, thank you for subscribing to the channel, and Mr. Ethan Vlogs, thank you for subscribing to the channel. And then head over to Arden Guna Network if you can. It'll be in the bio once we finish. Gabriel Martinelli, obviously it's a keep. I don't. Someone, an Arsenal fan the other day was talking to me saying we can improve on that position, and I do think we can, but I think he's still good enough, capable enough, young enough. I love him. I love Gabby, and I can't see him leaving. I don't want him to leave.
Yeah, no, agree. Gabby was my favourite player at one point, and he's still
Same as me. Same as me.
and he's still up there for me. He's just the problem with Gabby is he's just had a poor season, and that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think he'll come back and he'll be very good next season. So
I
would not entertain any notion of selling him. He's a definite keep.
I'm gonna whisper this into the mic, Adam. £6 million, people. 6.
It's just
Crazy.
And what's he worth now? 100 million? He's got to be.
Yeah,
Surely he's got to be at 100 million now. A guy like
I
that.
wouldn't entertain anything less than that.
No, and I just love him. And he's a lovely lad as well. I've seen him interviewed on Brazilian TV. He talks about his family, talks about how much he loves his family, and how
he's
grateful
mum and
he
dad.
is.
So his money goes to his mum and dad still.
It's just it's mind-boggling, isn't it? And he goes back to the town where he grew up, and gives and donates money.
You
and
seen the
helps
Amazon
with projects.
documentary, didn't you?
Yeah, that's it. I think so. Yeah.
Oh man, that
I think that's
made
where I
me
got it
love him.
from.
That did.
Yeah, same. And I've seen him interviewed as well on a few different sports channels. He seems like a really, really nice kid. Makes
He's
me
got that
feel
London slang as well now, hasn't he? He's kind of like Hector Bellerin.
It makes me feel, it's funny, it makes me feel old calling Arsenal players kids. But
Yeah,
they
it's
are.
mad, isn't it? Like,
It's crazy, I remember watching these guys when I was sort of 9 or 10, thinking, oh,
yeah,
but
it's
yeah, no,
mad.
I love Martinelli. I think he's a wonderful guy and a really, really great player to boot.
So do I.
So
So do I.
we keep him, and he's going to have a great career with Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. Moving over to Son, I don't think he's good enough. But then again, I don't think no one comes in for him. I think the most people are going to entertain an offer for him is between £5 to £10 million. I don't think that's. I don't think I'd take it. I'd rather just keep him as part of the squad. And
Yeah, agree.
I think he's quite happy to be part of that, in and around the squad. Bring him
Yeah,
in when
yeah,
80th minute when we need a goal, kind of like the
yeah.
Bournemouth performance. I'm happy with that. I'm happy if he's happy with his role as squad depth and coming in for League Cup games and stuff like this. I'm happy for him to stay. What about you?
Keep bench player, squad player. As you say, 5 to 10 mil. It's peanuts. So
No,
we don't want that. We would rather keep him, and he can play whatever role that Arteta thinks is right in terms of substitute appearances and playing in lesser games. I mean, you're going to stick him on, aren't you? League Cup home versus Doncaster, something like that.
Yeah.
You'd give him a game, wouldn't you? So, yeah, I reckon we keep him.
Yeah, 100%. And then I'm going to move over to go on. Big up Leo Trossard. So one more time for the people. There we go. I think you've seen it now, bro. Leo Trossard, love him, love him, love him. Great, great player. Technically very, very gifted. I think he's the best finisher in the squad. That's kind of my perception of him. He's the best finisher. He gets a sight of goal, he shoots and he scores. And I think that's what we need. I'm going to put this out there. It's going to be a bit outlandish. He's the best big game player in our team.
Yeah, agree.
He comes on when we need him and he scores. And he's
Yeah,
good. We paid £27 million for this lad.
I know.
He's
What a
fine.
signing!
What a signing. What a shrewd bit of business. And
It really was.
for me, next season, going into preseason, if he carries on his form, he has to start next season over Martinelli.
I would agree. And yeah, because
Yeah, go on, lad, with the glasses on as well.
with the glasses on, double bubble.
See, people, that's the thumbnail anyway. It's going to be me doing this. But shall we both do it together? There we go. I'll get the thumbnail. Here we go. That's our thumbnail. Go on, my brother.
Yeah, love him. I mean, you made a really good point. That Liverpool game where he scored that third goal.
Yeah.
He runs at defenders, and there are times where I do watch Arsenal, and I think, there, not to sort of talk about defeats because we're talking about good things today, but obviously Newcastle away, I did think with Martinelli that game, why are you passing back? Just run at defenders, and Trossard does that. He's direct, which is exactly what we want. And I think, let me just say this as well: Trossard was 27 million quid, and Mudryk, who we were looking at, who went to Chelsea. What did they sign him for? 90, about 90 mil?
88 million pound.
88 million pounds.
That was
And
the Thunder War. That's what that was for.
isn't it just crazy that we have ended up with like 5 times
With
better players?
Jorginho and Caicedo, same thing.
Exactly. Look at we've ended up with a better player. What a piece of business that was.
Yeah, you know what you need to do, Edu and Arteta, when they draw up their book of players, and they go 1, 2, and 3, just pick up number 2 every time.
Yeah.
Don't pick up number 1, just go for number 2.
It's gone well, hasn't it? I mean, again, same with Jorginho. He came in that same transfer window, I believe, and he was
Same transfer window.
And he again, it was another one where it was like, what a shrewd bit of business.
Yeah, £12 million Jorginho was. £12 million.
12 million quid.
£40 million for Jorginho and Leonardo Trossard. £40 million.
If you were to ask any fan who did better last season, Caicedo or Jorginho, I think anybody honest would say Jorginho by a long.
Chelsea fans would say Caicedo. That's about
it. They would, but I think their argument would be wafer thin, to be honest with you.
So these ones here, because these are the ones what were out on loan. Shall we quickly get through these ones?
Skip through those. Yeah.
Because obviously you've got things to do. I've got things to do. So Arthur, I can't ever pronounce his name properly.
Okonkwo.
Conquo. Yeah. On Con. Yeah. I'm going to butcher it. So go. I think he is already going anyway.
Going, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's already going back to Wrexham on a transfer. Kieran,
Fair enough.
you be
Yeah.
going. Kieran
Going.
Tierney, ship out, go.
I think so. Don't think there's any place for him, so I think he's going to go. It's a shame, but he's going to
Yeah,
go.
it is a
I
shame
think
because at one point he was one of our better players.
he was. He was.
Yeah. Moving over to Nuno Tavares, go.
Yeah, go for Tavares. Yeah, I'd say go.
100%. Albert Sambi Lokonga.
Weirdly enough, done very well for Luton on loan,
He
isn't
has.
he?
He has done very well.
Um,
I don't think he's good
this
enough
is
still there.
it's not easy. I'd probably go because I don't think he'll reach the level that we need him to.
I think if a £15 million bid comes in for him around that mark, I think that's it. I'd go.
Yeah, you bite a hand off for that, wouldn't you? Probably. So,
Yeah, 100%. 12 to 15 million pound
12
is
to
kind of.
15 million quid. Yeah, I'd say if he was maybe a little bit younger, I'd say maybe, loan.
He's
or
23.
23. I just don't think he's going to be very
Yeah,
well
I
for
don't
Luton.
see him. Yeah.
Did very well for Luton, but he's not going to be a midfielder in an Arsenal, Man City,
No, it's kind of like
Liverpool.
what we just touched on with Eddie and Nketiah.
It's not good enough. Yeah, good, but not good enough, and we need the best. So go.
And the last one, Marquinhos, where the thing is with Marquinhos, we all thought that he could have been like another Martinelli signing, but he's been woeful. He's been poor.
Yeah, agree. Completely agree. I haven't seen anything from him that makes me think he'll be a successful Arsenal player. I think unfortunately that one just didn't go the right way for us. That signing. So you'd say go for Marquinhos. Yeah.
There we go. So is there any kind of last things you want to touch on, brother? Anything you're thinking?
I think only for me, what I really want to see from Arsenal in the transfer window is ruthlessness across the board. I don't want to see decisions made on, oh, well, he came through the Hale End Academy. I think we need to be clinical with our decision making, both with buying and selling. We need a top striker. I alluded to it earlier. These games last season, Aston Villa 1-0 loss away, 2-0 loss at home. When we get when we get beaten, it tends to be that we don't score in those games. So we need just a clinical player.
You need that spark of a player what can just go
exactly. Oh, yeah. You're Henry. Imagine a Thierry Henry. You go 85.
You see up there?
Yeah.
My favourite ever player, man. I love him. I love TT, man. Love him.
TT, a regen of TT would be nice, wouldn't it? Somebody that just can pop up and bang a goal in. Isak. If we've got the money, I'd go for it. I'd stick 140 mil on the table and go, well, have a think about it and see what they do.
Osimhen, that's what I think it is. I'm just going to touch on this question here. What about Rashford? Rashford's very hot and cold. I do think Mikel Arteta could do something with him, but I think with this squad and then where we're at, their mentality and then how they're in that little bubble. I don't want to see someone who's going to come in and ruin that bubble.
Agree.
Kind of perspective on it.
Agree, and I think the point I make on Rashford as well is, and again, this is going to sound quite ruthless. We don't have time for players to come in, a bit like Havertz last season where he started slow. We can't afford to start slow next season.
No,
if we want to win the league, everybody starting and playing for us needs to hit the ground running, and Rashford wouldn't do that on form. He's not currently. No. He's woefully off form. So he's going to need time.
I wouldn't want Rashford taking minutes over Martinelli because I don't think he's a massive improvement on Martinelli either.
No, I think Martinelli's a better player, actually.
Yeah.
I think Martinelli's better.
Well, don't get me wrong, people. Ivan Hamesh Otiono. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, brother, but I do really appreciate the comment and I do appreciate the support on the channel.
Yes.
Yeah. But I just don't think. I think when Rashford, coming up to that World Cup, and during that World Cup, he was at a world-class status at that point, I think. Maybe not world-class, just below what Bukayo Saka is now. he was at that, and then when any team would have took him. But now when you see him, he's lethargic. He's not moving back. He's this, that, he's the other. He's a great player on his day, but he's way too hot and cold for me. 1 minute he looks like he could be world class, and the next minute he's awful.
Yeah, agree, Jamie. I think he's fallen out of love with football a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. Exactly the same. That's exactly what I'm kind of thinking. It's kind of like Aubameyang towards the end with us.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Can he get his confidence back? I don't know. It's a funny one with Rashford, because when he first came in, I remember Euro 2016, and he was taken to that tournament, and I remember thinking to myself, please Hodgson, give him minutes, bring him on, because he had so much flair and
Yeah,
spark,
he did,
but he hasn't developed in
enough.
line with his potential,
No,
unfortunately,
100%,
and it's sad. It is sad.
100% back it. So I'm gonna touch on one last thing, people, before we shoot off, because it has been an hour and 35-minute podcast, which I've thoroughly enjoyed, actually.
It's been brilliant.
Mental health,
Yeah.
people, reach out to someone today. I say this on every single podcast, people, but please listen to what I'm saying. Go reach out to someone, shoot into someone's inbox, but what a friend that you haven't spoke to in 5 years, maybe. Just shoot them a message and just check in. Just checking on people, checking on loved ones, whoever, whether it's a random person. I talk to many random people all the time. I do, because obviously I do podcasts, I do TikTok and stuff like that. Just check in, make sure someone, checking how they're doing, and just, even if you have to put a hand on a shoulder and just be there for someone, just do it. Just do it, people. Okay.
Yeah.
It's been
Great message. Great
yeah,
message. Really important that we keep spreading that message as well, because mental health is not given, still not given enough time as it should be. We're trying to get there, but we need to do more.
Yeah, I'm not plugging it, people. I'm not telling you to go to a certain mental health institute or whatever. I'm just telling you as a person, just checking on people.
Be kind. Yeah.
Yeah, speak minds, man. But it's been an absolute pleasure. I've really thoroughly enjoyed this, Adam.
Yeah, it's been brilliant, Jamie.
It has absolutely flew by.
Yes, it has. It really
Yeah,
has.
I really enjoyed it. So everyone, remember to like that 3-punch combination, like, comment, and subscribe. So bam, and then head over to Adam's channel. So what's your plugs, brother? What are your plugs? Your TikToks, your YouTube, and your Twitter. Give me your plugs.
Yeah, we're Ardent Gooners Network on all of them. So yeah, we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok, we've got YouTube, of course, and yeah, just like you, Jamie, we're making content, and we've got some really exciting stuff coming up. So
yeah, well, he's definitely got some exciting works in the pipeline. Very much so. Even I'm excited to watch it, and I do podcasts, so I'm I'm in this network, and I'm really looking forward to the content that Ardent Gooners Network, which is Adam over here, puts out. But thank you very much for joining in, Adam, again. And then thank you every single one who's been in the chat. And if you are watching this back, stay peaceful, have a blessed day, and reach out to someone near you. Goodbye, people. See you later. Stay blessed.